Welcome back to the final whistle then for another match preview on the channel. And Leicester City travel to East Yorkshire on Tuesday night to take on Hull City at the MKM Stadium. Hull and Leicester, the battle of the cities. Can the Foxes tame the Tigers? We're going to find out, to be fair. We're going to go through the game itself, how both sides have panned out this season in the opening 10 games. We're going to get the opposition view as well from the Hull City perspective, from Ant, from Hull and back. And yes, it's not the only fools in Hull City, it's Hull and back, so don't worry. We're not going Margate or anywhere like that, so don't worry. So we're going to do foot in both camps as well for managers and players who have played for both clubs. We're going to look at the stats. Last time we played Hull and really indulge into team selection and, of course, score predictions then ahead of this one. Guys, as always, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. It would help me out massively. Big hello to everyone, by the way. Paul, how are we, Paul? Hope you're good. Evening, Jack, and everyone in the chat. Designs by KW, how are we, pal? Hello, made a YouTube channel, so I could just say hello. Yeah, if anybody wants a hoodie, if you do content, football content, or support a team, Designs by KDW is your man. So if you want anything doing regarding football for your football club, then go and check him out. I'm sure he'll sort you out like a promo code as well. You can get money knocked off. But yeah. Good page on Instagram and, of course, TikTok. Greetings, Terry. How are we? See you all tomorrow, mate. Phil, how are we, pal? Hope you're good. Dawn, hello, darling. Vardy has started. He has for Cremonese tonight, hasn't he? Right. Let's get the substitute in tonight. We call him Oliver Skipper, the channel, because that's what he is. It's Dan. Dan, how are we, mate?
Well, I was all right until you've just called me Oliver Skip.
Well, that's what Steve calls you. Steve said that's what you want. So,
only because, yeah, I said about it to you the other day, sitting there warming up on the bench, waiting to come in.
No, we are. You've had your international call up to the final whistle.
That's it.
Yeah, there we are. But no, Dan, how you been?
Yes, all good. All good. Like you say, you've
recovered from another draw.
Yeah, a little bit of a disappointing result Saturday evening. Like we were chatting at the game. Good first half, very good first half, and should have been better dealt with in that first half, and then we wouldn't have had the pain of the second half. But boy, was we bad in that second half.
Well, this is Leicester, isn't it? There's not really been the consistency. Yes, we're unbeaten so far, but we need to turn draws into wins and be more consistent. I think in games you can clearly see that we've struggled in parts of games to put things away. Yes, we probably should have more points if we can actually see out games and do a lot more better, Dan. But this is the case of where we are at the minute. We're sitting fourth. We are where we realistically could be at the end of the season in the playoffs or automatics if we want to sort of pick some wins up anytime soon. But then obviously the loom of the PSR situation is still the unknown for now. I know a lot of teams in the Championship do sort of look at Leicester and pray when this scenario is going to be cleared up and hoping we actually get a points deduction so they can finish ahead of us.
That's it.
It's just a scenario that we can't. It's out of our hands at the minute, isn't it? It's down with the EFL in the Premier League, and we just have to wait and see.
Exactly that. And like I say, this is the bit where it is a little bit disappointing with having so many draws, whereas they were turned into wins. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I mean, I think Phil would be fine anyway, but it would just be that little bit more relaxing and going,
Yeah.
well, okay, you know, whenever you decide to take these points, it's not going to have such a drastic reaction by everybody, because I don't think it's going to matter, or it wouldn't have mattered too much. But like I say, 5 draws, that can be expensive. I mean, it's good that we're not losing, so put the positive on it. But like I say,
it's frustrating that you're not.
Yeah.
You're in winning positions and you're just letting it slip through your fingers. And arrogance is sure to shows. And
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It's a don't worry about it. We'll still win this game regardless.
Yeah. And you've got to be doing more, and the manager expects more from the players to be scoring goals when going 1-0 up, which he speaks highly about. I'm just looking forward to a transfer window to open us to give us a chance of getting another forward. Still fourth, so not doing bad. Do you know what? We're doing better of the teams that have come down, Southampton, Ipswich, and Leicester. Everyone's expected Ipswich to do what they're doing with what they got, like a championship all-star squad, if you want to call it that. They got.
I'm not sure whether Jack has dropped out there or not, but we'll find out. He'll let me know in a second.
Right.
This isn't back. What happened there?
I am back. The laptop lady decided to update itself while I'd done what I'd done, and it's frustrating when them things happen. It's annoying. Can't knock John Massini. Exactly, yeah. And bloody laptops decided to update. I was updating it before I'd started. It's probably not the best time to do an update on a laptop before shows, and obviously I'll learn that lesson in future references to do it after or a few hours before. My apologies to everyone if I'd froze. I'm back now, but we did leave it with the voice of reason of the channel, Dan. So hopefully you're in good hands and he didn't say something he shouldn't.
No, I weren't sure. I weren't 100% sure whether you won or not.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Talking about the number 9, what should be your thoughts on that? That's where our bloody killing position is at the minute in the team, isn't it? And we speak about that quite a lot, don't we? With Daka, Ayew, and Carranza, we've scored 1 between the 3. Not good enough.
Well, 100%. And it's not like we're not creating chances. I mean, first half, we had 11 corners and we produced nothing, and that's not just on the strikers when it comes to corners, but we still had enough opportunities elsewhere. But the biggest issue that we've had, and it's not just this season, it's been for many seasons, where we've just not been able to sort out another number 9 to replace the man that's left. So, and we can't hang on to that forever and more. The club itself should have been really looking, because Daka has never been good enough. He had it the time when he was in the Championship last, and he didn't really pull up any trees then. So that should have been a big warning to have gone. Yeah, that's it. That's it, and that is a poor return for Not just what we paid for him or what money he's getting and all the rest of it, because that's just to by the way. You know, it is what it is. That's what the club agreed. But you still expect, you know, even if he was on, you know, 15, 20 grand a week, you'd still expect more than that as a return for a goal scorer. So, you know, it's really disappointing that the club's not done more to get somebody in to replace him, you know. But it is what it is, and until we do get a grip of it.
That's why we're not scoring a lot, because we haven't got that number 9 to do it. And these type of games, you sort of look at the last 10 games. You know, we're not having the striker scoring goals. Defensive scored more than the goals. You got Vestergaard scoring more than bloody Ayew and Daka put together and Carranza. So it's frustrating. It is. Obviously, we've got to wait till January now, haven't we, till we can really consider bringing a number 9 in. And we always knew this would be the case when Jamie Vardy left, that we would struggle. Daka's not your Jamie Vardy. Jordan Ayew, his work rate.
He's not a striker.
His work rate against Portsmouth, I thought he was probably the best player that came on. To be fair, he held up the ball well, created things to get it in the box. He obviously had that chance, but that game against Portsmouth, going into this game against Hull, we've got to be far better. We've got to see a 90-minute performance, Dan, because this season we've not seen a 90-minute performance. We've seen them pull out 45 minutes. But it's frustrating that we can go ahead in games and not see games out and then drop points again. But then against Swansea, probably Swansea were the best game of the season so far, because I think we offered a lot more. There was just no arrogance about it, and we got on with it.
Well, again, what we like to have hoped they'd learnt their lesson of was the Wrexham game. But then we turn up Friday night and it was almost a carbon copy. You know, a decent first half, decent first 45 minutes, well in control, creating a number of chances. And then all of a sudden, we come out second half, Billy Big Balls, we've got this, you know, sort of hold my beer scenario. We just need to, you know, see this out. And you just can't do that. If you give clubs a sniff, then they hang in games, especially at 1-0. You know, and it doesn't take much. It doesn't even take it to be a decent finish. Like I say, the sides just don't go away. But you know, that's where this season so far is quite disappointing, where we're not killing these games off and, like I say, getting us more points on the board for ourselves. I believe Jack's, like I say, frozen and cut off again, but stick with us. He'll get it sorted. And that's it, Ross. It is. It will be. I'm taking over. Slowly but surely, I'm taking over. Kicking them out. But, if you put any comments in just while we're waiting for Jack to come back, and we'll try and go through them as much as we can before he returns. But, like I say, I don't know about what anybody else's thoughts are.
Yeah, Dan's just took over. Sorry. Bloody press something and it started making a noise and then it just went out. But I'm going to bring Ant in. I'm going to sit me there, sit Ant there. And I've had a few technical issues, as you can tell. I think this bloody sums up Leicester City's season, mate. I talk about bloody wins and then, it just, my laptop doesn't agree with it. It seems like draws are the only option for me at the minute. And I think I need to go to the drawing board with it a bit more. But welcome, man. Anyway, how are you?
I'm great, mate. It's been quite funny observing the chaos from behind the scenes. I've enjoyed it.
It bloody is chaos, mate. Virgin Internet's not exactly stable at the minute.
I reckon you've used up all your credits on EA Game Play or whatever you're calling it.
That's what it is, Dan.
Yeah,
that's what it is, mate.
Even now that he's dropping out.
And it's doing what it's doing, but it is what it is. We move. And Hull, talk to me about them. 10th in the championship. I mean, you've won 3 of the last 5 games. You've only lost 1. You are going into this game looking to make it 3 consecutive wins on the bounce. What have you made of the whole season so far and under the new manager?
It's been really good, surprisingly good. I think we were written off by the vast majority of the league. Obviously, last season wasn't brilliant at all. Starting season with Tim Walter, who was probably the worst manager we've ever had, definitely in my generation. Then Ruben Sellers came in, steadied the ship, kept us up, did his job. And then whether or not any of the fans agreed or disagreed with his sacking, he's gone. And we've brought in, obviously, Sergei Yakirovich, who obviously not many of us knew about. But a quick look at his career, he's managed a lot of games. I think just between nearly 400 career games. And he averages like just over 2 points per game wherever he is. He knows how to win games. So when you're looking at managers like that, who've got over a 50% win ratio in their career, you've got reason to be optimistic. And I think we've started this season in a way that shows that he is very pragmatic, he's very proactive, he's not wedded to one system like a lot of managers are nowadays. And given the fact we had a fee restriction in the summer, so he wasn't able, obviously, to spend any money at all, no fees, nothing like that. And we've managed to have probably the best transfer window we've had under this owner. A lot of championship experience in the likes of John Lundstrom, Semi Ajayi, Ollie McBurney, players like that. And we've got a team of battlers, which is something we couldn't say last season. We were far too nice. And we're surprising a lot of teams. I think we're being underestimated by a lot. And then when they come and face us, they're not up for the fight. And it's got us to a point where we're 2 points off the playoffs after 10 games. And if you'd said that to any of us before the season started, we'd have snapped your hands off, with 2 or 3 of our best players still to come back from injury. So, yeah, it's been a positive start. And we're hoping that we can stay in and around that sort of mid-table pack and have a little flirt with the playoffs at some point in the season. But just not being near the bottom 3 is quite refreshing.
And apparently, you look a bit like Fabrizio Romano.
I apparently look like several different people. It was Ozan Tufan, now it's Matt Crooks, now Fabrizio.
You sound a bit too northern to be Fabrizio, though. I don't know if you can speak Italian.
I'm obviously an NPC.
Oh, that's no good. And what's Ant done with it's got well long.
Yeah, I know. Growing it out. It's going to get cut soon, though, to be fair.
Just a quick question from me, Ant. How did you guys end up being put on a restriction for transfers and that? Because I was under the impression, because your owner or chairman, he's often on TalkSport talking about what he's doing and what he wants to do with the club and everything else with Simon Jordan, and everything always seemed positive. And then it's kind of come out of the blue a little bit, but I don't know whether that's something that was always bubbling away in the background or what.
No, it caught us by surprise just as much as anybody else. It was this season started, we'd hired Sergei and we were looking at bringing in the likes of Louis Barry and Lewis O'Brien and players like this, and we were quoting these fees and stuff. And then we were wondering why nothing was getting done, kind of thing. And then our owner came in and did like a Q&A, and he was basically suggesting that these deals were almost pretty much done. Yeah. And then I think it was literally 2 or 3 days later, we were hit with a transfer embargo. Yeah. And I think it's something to do with the Louis Barry loan fee from last season. So we loaned Barry in January, and then obviously he got injured after I think only his second start for us and didn't play for the rest of the season. Yeah. I think we were just late in paying them back, but the club claimed that it was because we were trying to negotiate that fee, adding on to the permanent fee to bring him in this summer, which Aston Villa obviously didn't like and decided to report us to the EFL. But it's one of these where I think the owner's just been a bit. The thing is like he is a bit overzealous with the way he spends money. We've seen that since he's come in. We've got a very, very high player turnover, very, very high manager turnover as well. And I think he's like if you put an over enthusiastic child in charge of your football club. Absolutely. He just wants to do everything so quickly. But he needs to be a bit patient. But I think he has learned his lessons.
He's a little bit Marinakis-esque, isn't he?
No, I don't think he quite has that fear mob boss factor about him. He is very genuinely does care about the fans and stuff like that. Marinakis is very self-centered. I would wager on what I know of him. Adjin's just one of these who we need somebody to rein him in. Obviously, if he wants to spend money, he will spend it. Nobody will tell him no. Whereas he needs like an advisor who understands English football to say, maybe you should hold off a little bit because we need to kind of make some money first before we do that. But he isn't doing it because he's a bad guy. He's just over eccentric. He just needs to chill.
That's it.
Phil
Phil
Brown.
Brown is at PSL, Peterborough Sports. That's just up the road from me.
Oh, you know him then, do you, Dan?
Well, no, I've not been to any of their games as yet, but
No, I thought you were busy mates, the way you spoke about him there, you know, a bit up the road from you, had a nice coffee and a chat, you know.
That's it. No, nothing like that. Nothing like that.
You not had him in the dungeon yet, as Trout likes to call it.
In the servants' quarters.
Dan, Leicester City in fourth, 4 wins, 5 draws, 1 defeat. We have scored 14, by the way, conceded 9, 17 points. Leicester, last game against Portsmouth, dominated the first half. Second half, completely different bloody Leicester City side. It got worse. Even the telly screen went off in the end with a scoreboard, and I think that was just sick of watching it, to be fair, about how bad it got.
Yeah.
How do you think Leicester really need to approach this game at the MKM tomorrow night?
Well, from what Ant's saying there, that they're more of a battling side now, we certainly need to be at least matching that aggression with it. And then hopefully, our quality will shine through as the game goes on. But if you're not matching them, then you're going to get overpowered, and it doesn't matter what quality you've got. If you don't match a working side, you'll never, your quality just won't matter, because they'll always out-battle you. And then when stuff isn't coming off, you then sort of get a bit dejected. So, if I always say you've got to earn the right to play football. So until then, if a side is a battling side, you've got to match them with that first. And then eventually you take the wind out of their sails, and you can then get back to playing football.
Yeah, it's a tough game. We haven't got the greatest of records at bloody Hull. I'll be honest. It reminds me a bit like Cardiff, when we used to go to Cardiff and struggle. It used to be sort of a bogey sort of ground for us. And Hull in the league, it's a tough place to go. You look at last time we visited, a 2-2 draw. Jamie Vardy scored twice on that day. Ant gave him a bit of stick after he stuck the penalty away, but he then went and scored again in the second half, and then Hull fans gave it him again. He gave it him back, and as you do. But this time there'll be no Jamie Vardy. It's a game where we've got to adapt differently. But I think this is where we sort of go at this season, where without the main number 9 who left us in this summer, we haven't replaced him. And I think that's where, obviously, you spoke about Leicester when you've looked at the Championship, that number 9 part's always crucial to have, but it seems to be a little gaping hole for Leicester this season. Yeah,
absolutely. Any side that loses somebody like Vardy that we have is always going to be a massive hole to fill. And like we were saying before, is it's really on the club to have not done that. It's not like they've not had enough time. It's not like, all of a sudden he's gone. Like I say, the guy was 38. So, it was always going to come to an end at some point.
It was, yeah.
So it's, it's another one of those frustrating, disappointing things with the club. And like sort of going back to Hull again, at the beginning of the season, I think there were quite a few people's sort of bags to be struggling and be in a relegation fight, but they've clearly proven that with getting in the likes of Ollie McBurney, who's always going to score goals at this level.
Proper number 9 striker in the Championship.
That's it. They've got a target man to work off who can actually score, which is something that we're absolutely crying out for.
Yeah. So that's why I'm glad we actually have a team where we're not relying on the number 9. We're actually spreading the goals around the squad.
Well, we're not given much choice, are we? So,
well, this is a problem, and I think this is where we sort of struggle in the final third a bit, innit? We haven't got that number 9 who we can get in them spaces and get the goals. We're having to keep going out for the wings, or the midfielders are having to sort of dig in a lot more with goals, like Jordan James and Winks, and Aaron Ramsey scored on Saturday night. So, and what's your thoughts on Leicester? We sit 4th in the Championship. Another draw a 5th draw of the season, by the way. We seem to be the draw specialists of the Championship at the minute. What have you made of Leicester so far this season out of the 3 promoted sides that have come down?
Well, you're the highest positioned of the 3, so you're obviously doing the best of the 3. I think that the thing is with Leicester is, as you've already said multiple times on this show, you might not have enough goals in your squad to sort of get you into those automatic positions, but top 6 is definitely a reality. If you'd have gone out and just got one decent Championship level striker in summer, you'd probably be sitting top of the table at the minute, because you need somebody to sort of grab you those extra goals in those moments in games where you're on top, and they can probably change those draws into wins. And at this level, you've got to have a platform to play off up front. I mean, it's all well and good relying on players like Fatawu, and Jordan James has been a really good signing as well. But when players identify a winger as a problem, you usually can double up on them and then nullify them as a threat a bit. And not every single game is Fatawu going to cut inside and score a welder. It's going to be bit parts in between. So when you're looking at a course of a 46 game season in the Championship, which can be Saturday, Tuesday, you've got to have those players that you can rely on. And like you say, that one thing that might miss out on sort of an automatic chase for you is just the fact you haven't got a striker, but you're still a really good team at this level. The players that you've got, were the vast majority of those were probably the ones that won the title a couple of years ago. So you've got players at this level know what it takes to get promoted. Like you say, it's just getting through these 6 months and maybe bringing in a goal scorer in January, but just try and stay in the mix for as long as you can till then.
Yeah, Dan, when Leicester do concede goals this season, it seems very much our own doing. Because of our own problems, we seem to be comfortable in games, but then we always know that there's a goal in it for the opposition because of how we sort of just gift goals at times. It's frustrating that you can never seem to. You look at some of the draws that we have had. You talk about the Wrexham in the Portsmouth game, that we were quite comfortable for a big part of the games, and then we make our own issues, and then we end up drawing, and then the opposition seems to be on top against us after that. Do you think it's a mentality thing, Dan, with some of the players? Obviously, Marty has spoke about it, even spoke about it after the Portsmouth game, that he wants a side that can see out games, dominate games, score more than 1 goal a game, and go and win the game quite comfortably. But do you think that's a mentality thing that he really needs to work on with the players? Because this chunk of fixtures before the next international break, they're very much must-win games that we have to keep picking up the wins and not keep dropping points.
Well, we have made that for ourselves. It's like during the 90 minutes, we seem to make games hard for ourselves.
Yeah.
But like what we've said before, we've not been done by a great bit of football or an individual bit of skill. It's from our own mistakes, where we leave ourselves just a little bit exposed, especially as we keep saying, but they still both keep playing. That left-hand side of our back 4 is so bad, especially for pace-wise.
Yeah.
Yes, Yannick is very, very good at getting us playing and good on the ball when we're in possession. Like I say, when we're in possession, brilliant. You wouldn't really want many others, especially in this league. But off the ball,
positioning's a big thing.
Yeah, the pair of them are all over the place. So really, Marty has now, because they've had pretty much 10 games together now, and
2 international
not dealt with it. Yeah. So he's really got to sort of go back to the drawing board a little bit with it and swap at least one of them out. And which one it is, I don't think it really matters, because we have got adequate replacements. But certainly with Nelson, which will then give us that extra pace at the back there, who can still be very good on the ball. Yeah, that's it. Who's still very good on the ball and can play.
To be fair.
Exactly. But and then you're keeping Luke Thomas in, or you're swapping Luke Thomas out for Victor Christian, who really isn't that much better. I mean, especially defensive. Okay, he's better in attack, but defensively, I think he's actually worse.
Yeah. And Ryan Giles is ranked the third in big chances created in the championship this season. He's got 6. Hull are averaging a 1.7 goals per game. Ollie McBurney and Ryan Giles have both built that partnership together this season, haven't they? They even shared the player of the month between each other. Even, one got it and Ollie were like, you know what, Ryan, mate, we can share this because we've both worked hard to get it. So we'll both take it. Is that where you see your sort of threat in the Leicester game? Is that where Hull have really worked on that real left-hand side? Because I know Ryan Giles wasn't the greatest of spoken about with Hull. Obviously, a bit frustrating that he wasn't good enough. And then this season, Ollie McBurney comes in and he seems like he's really found a more stronger point to his game.
Yeah, we've struggled to have a proper number 9 for ages. So having someone like Giles, who in my opinion is a system player, and we've played him in a system that he didn't suit. And when he's not that great defensively, 1-on-1, which actually this season he's improved on a lot, we definitely weren't getting the best out of Giles, and he was, for the most part, a passenger, especially over the last 2 years. We tried to loan him out to Middlesbrough, where he seemed to desperately want to go back. Really didn't work out there either for him, so he was on the bench there for the most part, and he's come back this summer. And Jurkiewicz has said, like, I know what your strengths are, I'm going to play to him. So we basically play him as a left midfielder when we've got the ball. The right back will sit a little bit deeper, which is usually Coyle, make a back 3, and then Giles will push on, allow him the winger to cut in as well. And then he'll swing him in for McBurney, because the one thing that Giles does have is a quality delivery. And all 5 of his assists have been McBurney goals. So, when you've got a striker who knows where to put himself in the box and find those positions, and you've got someone like Ryan Giles who can put the ball in that position, it's gonna result in a lot of goals. But the good thing is that that's not the prime sort of direction that we'll take. Louis Coyle on the right hand side, if he's fit enough to play tomorrow, or even Cody Drame have been providing the same when they bomb up the line. We're getting, we've got people like Joe Gellart who in the centre of the park can also play those line breaking passes in behind. We have got threat all over the pitch, and that's something that we've been missing for a long time, because last season we struggled to create and score goals at all. This season we're scoring for fun. We just kind of concede a lot because of it as well. We play a very open style. It's very chaotic and fun. If you're a neutral fan, any game involving us is brilliant, because there's just so many goals involved. But yeah, it just means that the other team always has something to think about, because we're going to leave ourselves open, which encourages the team to push their own players forward to try and score goals, whilst leaving yourself vulnerable for us to exploit on the counter attack. So it's. But Giles, yeah, like I say, this season has been amazing. He's probably one player at the start of the season the majority of our fan base would have driven to whatever football club he wanted to go to. But his redemption arc is well underway, and he's sort of becoming a bit of a fan favourite at the minute as well, and he's looking like he's really enjoying his football.
Yep. Dan, what's your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game? Obviously, we'll do score prediction, team selection, that a bit later. What's your sort of thinking ahead of this one?
Well, like what we say many a time, we need to have a match in 45 minutes from what we had in the good 45 against Portsmouth, and finishing off from Swansea is what we really need to do. And if, like what Anti's saying, is that they're not so hot at the back because they're pressing forward so much, we do sort of need to be a little bit cautious of that. But then again, Marty to earn his money and recognise that sort of thing, and use the pace that we do have up front, because that's the one thing that we do, especially with Ramsey coming back in now. We have an abundance of pace through Ramsey, Monga, and what's his name? Abdul. I don't know how his name went out of my head. And again, whether we go with Patson, who again is electric with pace, but that's where it ends.
His bread and butter is to score goals.
Yeah, but
again, like George Hurst with Ipswich, since he said that his bread and butter score goals, and he really hasn't been doing that, has he? No,
but if that is something that causes Hull's back four an issue, then it's certainly something to look at, because he creates more openings for other players to step into. So
yeah, he did that for James against Wrexham. Great assist, by the way, by Patson. That's what you want to see more of, isn't it? He can do link-up play quite well, but you need him to do his bread and butter, and that's to score goals. what he gets paid to do, Dan.
Exactly. We've been saying that for 3.5 years now, Jack.
It's frustrating, obviously, you know. It's frustrating when four years ago on this day he scored that bloody 4 goals in that night in Spartak Moscow, and he's never been the same player since. And you're thinking, where's that Patson Daka game? That's what we need against Hull tomorrow now, that Patson Daka. But you know, when I spoke to Juan in the week, and I said to Juan, I said, Patson Daka hadn't scored for a long while. He said, normally we're type of teams who can let strikers score who haven't scored for a while. But
well, that's it. That's what we're saying.
This is what we're bloody hoping for.
It'll be interesting to see what Marty does, of whether he sticks and gives Carranza another hour, or you know, a little bit more, and swaps it with that, or whether he changes the system slightly at all. Because you know, the last couple of games, he has finished the games of being going with a 4-4-2 as well. You know, especially when where he sort of is showing his intent really to go and win a game. You know, I'll give him that. All right, we thought, you know, after the game we find out that Bobby Reed's done his calf or his hamstring, whichever one it was, and so we were basically playing with 10 players. But that's just one of those things, unfortunate in football. But we will see whether it works at any other time. So, but he will always go out to try and win a game by the looks of it, regardless of whenever it is. It's just sometimes the players don't seem to be too up for doing that either.
And what's your thoughts of tomorrow's game? How do you think Hull sort of approach Leicester?
It's a weird one because for any game that involves us, any of the 3 outcomes is equally as probable. Like the thing is with us, like, obviously because we play so open, and we do concede a lot of chances. So it just depends on the other team not being clinical, and because we've kind of got the approach this season where you can score 2 if you want. We'll score 3. It's fine. Like that's the way we're going. But if you don't score 3, then that's where the problem is. So it's all right conceding 2 goals a game. We've got to make sure we're scoring at least 2 as well. So we are a bit chaotic. But at home we've been very strong this season. We've only lost once, and that was following a very, very bad week where we'd only trained once because of illness through the camp and stuff. And then we faced Blackburn and got absolutely tonked, but they looked like they were all hungover. So we have been strong at home this season, which is a nice change because we were the worst team in the league at home last season. And it's completely flipped where we're not that great away and we're pretty decent at home. So I'd like to think we'll take the game to everybody we play this season. I don't think that Sergei will change the way he plays. I mean, Southampton came in, we turned them over 3-1 as well. Sheffield United came here under Wilder and we turned them over, and now we've gone to Birmingham with 29 games unbeaten at their place and beaten them. So I think that a lot of teams now might start to sort of take notice rather than underestimate. So if Leicester come here and play obviously to their full capabilities, then they will probably win the game. It's just that whoever scores the most goals out of the probably 40 odd chances that will be shared between the 2 teams, it's going to be fun. But yeah, just obviously, if we are missing McBurney, like is reported, he's apparently got a bit of a knock, so he might be on the bench and come on later on. But we've got plenty of other goal threats in the team, and the last 2 wins that we've had, McBurney hasn't even scored in. So it's one of those where we scored 4 goals in the last 2 games. He hasn't scored any in those 2 games. So you know, maybe do rest him kind of thing and not aggravate that injury too much. Yeah. But you can't also ignore the like you say, the pace that Leicester have got. Maybe stick a J in at the back just to sort of make up for that, because Egan's very good, but he's not blessed with pace. It's just there's so many different sort of variables for both teams in this game that it's impossible to call almost.
Yeah, so I think you're right. I think you're right with what you're saying there, and it does sound like this has got 0-0 written all over it from what we're saying there. Because that's what we was expecting with Coventry as well, weren't it? A side that's banging in goals left, right, and centre, and ourselves, and it ended up being 0-0. But you know, I do feel that if a side does press forward and leave a lot of gaps, then you know we do have players that will exploit that quite well.
Yeah, we're a bit of a conundrum in that sense because we commit so many players forwards, and it almost entices the other team to go on then. Go try and exploit our space, because then you're caught in 2 mans, because your manager's thinking, well, I could commit loads of players forwards, but look how many they've got in our half. Do I want to leave us vulnerable? So it leaves managers. I think Sergei is sort of playing mind games with everyone. He's going, yeah. We're gonna concede loads of chances to you, but you're gonna concede loads to us. Do you want to try and stop that, or are you gonna carry push on? I love it. It's like entertainment value. I'll take a mid-table with this kind of chaos every day of the week. I love it.
It's more like a bloody chess match. And this will probably be, both sides won't want to. They'll obviously want to create a lot of chances, but they don't want to let many in. And this is why I look at Leicester. They've got to exploit Hull, the weaknesses. Abdul, he's assisting quite well. He's scoring goals. If he gets another tomorrow night, fantastic. Monga, he wasn't great against Portsmouth, but he's developing. He's still young. He's obviously going to get a kick every now and then, isn't he, from these more experienced players. I mean, Pompey were kicking him left, right, and centre. That's what you're going to do. Make him come back stronger. Jordan James and Harry Winks, I thought they both had a fantastic game. When Aaron Ramsey were on the pitch, I thought the three linked up well in that midfield. I think that's something we sort of look at against Hull. The defence has got to be tight. I mean, Ollie McBurney, he's a big lad. He likes to get himself about a bit. That's something that I hope with Fast that he can sort of say, okay, then if you're going to push me, I'm going to push you back, but don't bloody cause us a problem.
That's if he plays. He might be injured.
Well, that's it. But Fast usually thrives a little bit more on games like that where centre forwards try and bully. Yannick, not so much, but certainly Fast does. He is up for a bit of a scrap. But he's also up with losing concentration because he's concentrating on something else and makes a mistake. So
let's have a look at a few stats. Hull have only won 2 of their past 9 league games against Leicester. They've drawn 3, lost 4, with the most recent ending 2-2 in March 2024 was the last time these two sides met at the MKM. Leicester have only won 1 of their last 5 league trips to Hull City, winning 1, drawing 2, losing 2, winning 1-0 in the Premier League in 2014. I think Riyad Mahrez scored in that game, I believe, a Boxing Day game. Great win, that one. After their 1-0 win over Sheffield United, Hull could win back-to-back home games for only the second time since the start of last season. Last doing so in March. So it's been...
that Birmingham win was our first back-to-back win in like 47 games or something.
Jesus Christ. Leicester have won as many of their 5 away games in the Championship this season, 2, as they'd managed in 19 on the road in the Premier League last term. So we only won 2 in the Premier League last season. We've won 2 up to now. Hull's Ollie McBurney has been directly involved in 15 goals in his past 14 home league games in English football, scoring 10 and assisting another 5. McBurney scored in both of his 2 previous home league matches against Leicester as a Sheffield United player. Yeah, I remember the last steady time he scored against us, actually. But yeah, Footmob got it. Hull have won 3, drawn 5, and lost 6 to Leicester in the last 14 games. So this one makes for a very interesting game. To be fair, do you think he'll change much in the team, man? When we talk about the team now, do you think he'll change much from the Birmingham game? If so, how many?
It'll be injury dependent if he does change any. Like I say, McBurney, if he's got a slight knock, he might not be risked from the starting place. He might come on off the bench. Louis Coyle went down with an injury towards the end of the game with Drame coming on, so he might not start. I don't know. I've not seen the injury news regarding those 2 yet. Which means obviously someone like Enis Destan might come in. Crooks, I would imagine, comes in and starts, and maybe Gellert going out wide or something. Yeah. Because we're so much better with Matt Crooks in the middle, and when he came on in the second half against Birmingham, we transformed. And I think having a team like Leicester come where I would say your biggest strength at the minute is your midfield and being able, players like Winks and Jordan James sort of controlling the game. We need to have people in there that are going to upset that apple cart, and someone like Matt Crooks will do that. Regan Slater's finding form again. So I think any changes would maybe be minimal. Tactical wise, maybe Semi Ajayi comes back in at centre back because he's a bit stronger and faster than someone like Egan. But with Egan's form, it'd be hard to drop him. So he has got a few selection headaches. But we've got to a point now where we've actually got really good squad depth. So whatever changes he makes, he's making for a good reason. We're fully backing him, Sergey. So yeah, it'll be an interesting team lineup.
Dan, Leicester. How many changes do you think we could make if you had to make any changes from the Portsmouth game? Who comes in and who goes out? Does Ben Nelson come in to replace either Vestergaard or Fass?
Again, it's one of them where it's a bit of a tough call to make, really. I think to bring Nelson in, I think he's going to have to be more of a formation change than anything else, and going with the three at the back. I don't think he'll do that. To be honest, I don't think Marty will change much at all. I think he will keep it. The only sort of questionable bit will be who he goes with up top. Whether he goes with Patson, whether he goes with Ayew, whether he goes with Carranza. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We'd all love to make changes, and like I say, I would like to see. Not so much that with today, with especially with how Ant's saying that they play. I would rather see Vestergaard come out for Ben Nelson, because you're not losing anybody who's on the decent on the ball and can play. But we've got that bit more pace, and probably someone who's a bit more prepared to put their body on the line, unlike Yannick is. Nelson definitely gives off that bit. Okay, he had a little bit of a stinker against Huddersfield, but so have they all. So and that's it. As Rich is just saying there, Carranza needs at least 2-3 games. As I say, that's Saturday was the most he's played is an hour since he's been at the club. So yes, the goal that they scored started from him from slipping over or being a bit too lightweight,
backwards.
Yeah, which was disappointing. But at the same time, he did show good spells of, sort of looking after the ball and giving their back four something else to think about. It's the same with Daka. He gives the back four something to think about, because he'll change. He'll come short to go long, and he'll go long to come short and things like that. He won't be like Ayew is, who, as I say, he's
everywhere on the pitch.
He's standing in between Yannick and Faff more than what he's standing in between their two centre halves. So, but like I say, not taking anything away from Ayew's work rate and his ability on the ball. It's just his positioning. It's like he's desperate to be involved and on the ball.
I agree, Michael. Yeah, Fass should have done a lot more better against that. Is it Yang? Is it for Portsmouth? Fass has got to do a lot better. Not take him out basically, and he doesn't, and then he leaves Luke Thomas in bloody limbo to go and defend it.
Well, this is it again, because normally Fass would just take everybody. He just took him out and took the booking.
I believe he's close. He's close to coming back, Mavididi. I know Bobby Reed had a tweak in his hamstring. I don't think he'll make the whole game, but I think it'll be Monga again.
Mavididi may end up on the bench. That's about it. Because obviously, again, well, if Bobby Reed, if his calf or hammy, I can't remember which one it was now, is as bad as what it was that he couldn't move on the pitch, then we might see an opportunity for Silko Thomas or Jake Evans to come back into the squad.
It's on a professional contract, Jake Evans. I think he could offer an option up front and all then.
Exactly that. He's been banging them in for the under-23s.
Yeah.
Like I said, my only one issue with it is that it is a big step up from going from under-23s into the senior team, and it's not the biggest of players.
That's the opportunity.
He's a shorty.
At Monga. And what have you thought? What's your thoughts on Jeremy Monga? I don't know if you've seen much about him this season. When obviously watching Leicester, we have bloody spent a lot of time on Sky Sports.
Yeah, no, he looks like a very, very good, promising player. Was he 17, something like that?
16.
So when a player breaks through to the first team at that age, then they've obviously got something about him. I think Leicester need to be careful that you don't put too much pressure on him or expect too much of him too soon, because
Yeah.
They're at a stage of his career where, you know, you can either make or break him at that point. You've got to be really careful with how you bring young players through. Because he's got to just focus on his football. You probably want him more as a impact player off the bench than be starting him and expecting him to do too much in that sense. But he's coming into he's got a good opportunity this season because he's in a really good team, and he's got some really good wingers to learn off, the likes of Abdul and Mavadidi, etc. And he can have a really good experience in a really tough championship. And whether or not that ends in promotion, he's going to learn vital things about his game. And I'm sure the Leicester staff in training will be working on the bits that he needs to sort of nurse him into being that kind of winger that you would be able to keep for a long time or make a lot of money off. Because I think with Leicester's maybe impending points deduction kind of thing and recent flirts with PSR and whatever it is that's happening, someone like Monga could get you a pretty penny. So Leicester may be at a crossroads soon where, you know, you get a big offer and it's like, do we keep him or do we cash in? So just look after him, I would guess.
Definitely be sold, but I would say that the first one out the door, unfortunately, will be Abdul, but before Monga.
But Monga, he plays very well, but see if edges do. Yeah, it's about developing Alex, to be fair. You know, it's his first season. I think next season he'll come even more stronger than what he is. You'll see even more added to his game. You know, they have to learn fast, don't they, when they go up to the first team, and you know you can see there's a lot about him. This guy's going to go to the top, but we just got to look after him. You know, we can't rush these type of developments. We just got to take it game by game and see how he does against opponents. But let's have a look at foot in both camps. I mean, I've got a few here, but I'm not going to go through the whole list because I don't want to bloody bore people if they don't like certain players. There is a manager and player on here. Curtis Davis played for both clubs. Jacobs.
Spider on roller skates.
He must have came in when Nigel Pearson came to Hull.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Matty Fryer did very well at Leicester. Yeah, very good for Leicester. Scored goals. The main man, Nigel Pearson, laid the foundation for what was going to come next after the Great Escape. Good in his first spell and second spell as Leicester manager. Obviously went to Hull after his first stint as Leicester manager. I know Hull fans are not the biggest fans of Nigel Pearson.
He's very Marmite with a lot of us. Like, we respect what he did in terms of the circumstances he came in. Like our previous owners that got us promoted to the Prem were very reckless with the money that they spent and the contracts they gave with no relegation clauses and stuff. So when we got relegated, we were in big trouble, paying like Jimmy Bullard 45 grand a week, and he wasn't even playing because he had a knee injury. And Pearson came in and kind of brought in a lot of frees and loans. We utilised a lot of Man United youth because of the Warren Joyce connection there. And he did very well. He steadied the ship. But in terms of football, he was utterly horrendous. We had our worst home form ever under him. And I do remember him leaving for Leicester and coming back on us chatting, we're not boring anymore. That's his legacy.
He did leave Hull to come back to Leicester. Quite openly, he said he couldn't turn the offer down when he did.
Even though 4 days before in the press he'd said absolutely not.
I think Leicester would sort of, you know, felt it was a mistake of him leaving. To be fair, obviously we did bring in other managers after him, and it never worked out. Paulo Sousa, Saven was good. The late Saven. He was a good manager for Leicester. Just didn't really work out in his second season. I think he had his 8th, didn't he, Dan? He didn't have us far off, did he?
No, not at all.
It's just a shame for him, to be fair. But Nigel Pearson came back, and then Lee Peltier played for both clubs. I don't think he made many appearances for Hull. Harry Maguire and Jakupovic came to Leicester in the summer of 2017. Harry Maguire, 17 million to Leicester. Craig Shakespeare signed him, by the way. Maguire was good.
Plus a 10% sell-on fee. So when you guys sold him for 80 mil, we got 8 mil of it.
Solid money, to be fair, wasn't it? A good defender. Built that partnership with Johnny Evans and that, and sold him for 80 mil to Man United. Obviously, Hull had the sell-on clause as you do in football. Jakupovic, I think we paid about £1 million for him. Wasn't the greatest goalkeeper, I'll admit, to be honest. A 3-year contract, never really hit it alight. Martin Waghorn, fans' favourite at Leicester. We loved him. Worked out more as a loan more than a permanent for us. In the end, I think bloody Paulo Sousa were desperate to bring somebody in to get the fans back on side, wasn't it, Dan? It was that sort of situation where he was struggling, and he were like, "How do I get Leicester fans on side?" I said, "Bring Waggle back."
Yeah.
But no, we have two others. Tatapila, Peter Taylor, one of the worst ever managers in Leicester's history, by the way, to date. Leicester fans hate him.
One of our best back-to-back promotion. We spent 19 years in the bottom tier, and in and amongst that, being locked out of Boothry and almost going bust and getting relegated to non-league, etc. He came in and just literally started the rise up the leagues for us. We wouldn't be where we are today without Peter Taylor. He did back-to-back from League Two to the Championship, left us in quite thingy terms to Crystal Palace, but everything he did, he took us up to the champ and kept us in there, and brought Nick Barmby back. So we've got a lot of thanks for Peter Taylor.
He done the complete opposite to us. He took it.
He took you down.
Spiraling out of control.
Martin O'Neill's work were quickly undone when he came in, and a certain Jack he came in as well for 5 million.
Did he bring Junior Lewis in as well, who played for both sides?
Yeah, he signed him for us as well. He was
absolutely crappy. You'd think his passport said Brazil, that bloke, because he were honking. He's one of the worst ever players to play for the club, and I was glad he left Leicester to go to Hull. I think he went on loan to Hull first, and then obviously you signed him permanent after. But I don't know how you lot managed to put up with Junior Lewis. One of the worst.
We weren't his biggest fan.
Yeah, good. I think we can agree on that. Damien Delaney, Mark Yates, Ian Ormonroyd is another one in there. So there's a fair few. I think O'Neill was our last manager and Taylor was our first coach. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, we were doing quite well under Martin O'Neill. Then, obviously, when Martin left for Celtic, Peter Taylor comes in. We was in a good position in the bloody Premier League, and then that happened. Yeah, not good. But no. Score prediction, then. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Go on, then.
I'm pretty confident in man. We seem to be booking. It's very, very rare that there isn't any goals in our games, and it's very, very rare that we keep a clean sheet. So I think that Leicester have got maybe a little bit too much in sense of that we'll win comfortably. I don't think we will. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
That's kind of where I was thinking from, but only basing it off of what you said about with going forwards. And
what is it with everyone going for draws?
Because you guys keep drawing.
Exactly.
I just hate the word draw at the minute because we've had 5 in the last 6 matches. It's like, I want to win a game, man, and go on consistently running.
That's it. I mean, I will change it just so I'm not copying. I'll say it'll be 2-1 to us, only purely because I think, or I hope in more than anything, is that if you are bombing people on, with that middle three of whether it's Mavididi, Monga, and Abdul and Ramsey, they are very quick and they are very skillful and they do create a lot of chaos.
That's an interesting game.
And I think if you're leaving your back line exposed, they are good at exploiting it, especially Abdul. You know, if he has time and space, he hurts. He hurts.
He does.
And, you know,
let's hope he turns up tomorrow, though. We're going to need him in this game.
Well, again, like I say, you know, he has been doubled and tripled up on quite a lot so far this season. So, like I say, again, if you're saying that Hull don't sort of care about that because they go for goals, like I say, he is most definitely someone who will exploit and hurt that. Yeah,
me and Ant have a bit of we had a debate over, obviously, when we talked about Abdul last time, didn't we, Ant? And Philogene, ex-Hull player, and we was debating who were better and who had the best stats, but turned out Abdul had the best stats and Ant was still moaning, oh yeah, but that was in youth level, that was in a bloody different league. You can't be doing things like that, Craig. You can't be saying things like that.
You can't be using goal scoring stats from the second division of Africa. That's just that. You can't be doing that.
It all counts, doesn't it, Dan?
Well, that's it. Only go on what the games he's played.
Yeah.
All the games he's played.
Compare those championship stats and we'll talk.
Yeah. Michael has gone 1-1.
Hopefully, he won't be in there long enough to compare them.
Paul 1-1. Dawn's gone 3-2. I mean,
yeah, that's quite possible by the sounds of it.
This is what I mean. Like, he could easily flip these scores. With us, any of these scores are entirely possible.
And like I say, I don't trust our back four to be able to keep clean sheets and or like I say again, stopping a progressive side from getting a couple. You know, even if he does make changes, it will be potentially slightly better. But sometimes, what we've seen of them, they're equally able to make the same or similar mistakes. You know.
Yeah, we've got Liam Miller back as well, who's a very, very tricky winger, and he looked very good when he came on against Birmingham. So he could be someone that we try and utilise quite often as well.
That's it.
Before I let you go, obviously you do the best food in the EFL.
Oh yes, we do.
It is stated fact. Yeah. What's on the menu tomorrow night for any Leicester fan travelling to?
It is a very, very popular return of the toffee apple crumble. It is spectacular, and if people are not a fan sometimes of having those kind of desserts at football, but all I'll say to you is you are absolutely missing out. It sells out within. If you want it in the home end, you have to give up 2 or 3 pints in the pub and go early to get it because it will sell out immediately. So yeah, anyone going in the Leicester end, if you wanted one of those, you'll have to get in the ground pretty early and get a seat.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Dan, for coming on. Appreciate it. I will catch you when I land down in Hull tomorrow.
Yes, mate. Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Catch you soon.
Nice one.
Dan, thanks for coming on, mate. I know we had a few technical issues and left you on your own for a bit due to the bloody laptop updating at the wrong times, but we managed to get through it in the end, and happy days. So if anyone's watching, it will be a bit of Dan at the start. Dan's takeover, should we call it? The voice of reason of the final whistle took over and hopefully entertained you. But now, Dan, you've done a good job, mate, on your debut to fill in for Steve.
No worries. I wasn't sure whether you were gone or whether, which end it is.
Yeah, just my laptop did it earlier. I updated one and then I needed to update another. And then because I forgot to cancel the update, it just updated again. And I'm just like, for God's sake, man. But I'm glad it were a quick update rather than a bloody 20-minute long meeting because you'd have been doing it by yourself. Yeah. I'd have had to go and find my phone. Championship predictions is on the channel as well. Go and check that out. Go and give us your championship predictions for week 11. Match day vlogs on there for Portsmouth. Hopefully my face ain't much like that tomorrow night at Hull. Alex, thanks for coming on. Good show, lads. See you at Hull City. Come on, you Foxes. Yeah. Catch soon, everyone. Keep it the final whistle. Hit a like on this stream if you enjoy the content. Subscribe to the channel if you know. If you're a Hull fan, let us know your thoughts ahead of tomorrow's game as well and the replay of watching this back. And see you later.